history of Title IX. So it was 1972 when it was enacted by Congress, but then it took quite a while. There was in 74, Senator Tower proposed Tower Amendment, which would exempt revenue-producing sports from determinations of Title IX compliance, and all kinds of stuff went through, and they basically, exempted basketball and football because they make the money. And as you've heard, if you listen to this podcast video, I can't stand how they make so much money off these college kids. And they say, oh, well, they're getting a college education. They're like, yeah, but you guys are making millions and millions of dollars, and the networks are making billions of dollars by these kids playing. So, long story short, but there is a reason why I'm going through this. So, I was in high school from 77 to 81, and it says right here that deadline for high schools and colleges to comply with Title 9 athletics requirements was 1978, the summer 1978. And it was definitely a change. My freshman, I guess, was year. Sports was definitely segregated in terms of the girls were getting, the old uniforms and definitely didn't get the money and the support. It was definitely not 50-50. It was probably 90-10. And, but during my era in high school sports, you definitely saw a change, and it's changed more so. And the thing is, of course, with any of these kind of rules and regulations, you know, bad things kind of happen. And the bad thing was, a lot of the kids' sports, male sports, were dinged instead. So what happens, those revenue sports like basketball and football were able to keep their numbers and weren't counted in the 50-50 balance. And I may be getting this kind of wrong, but it basically was not a 50-50 balance. It's kind of like whatever the ratio of men to women is at the school, or women to men, is what the revenue is going to be spent and the amount of athletes. So, like here at Cal State Bakersfield, it's very heavily dominated by women going to school. And so I don't know what the numbers are, but let's say it's 70-30. So in the past, probably 90% of the money and 90% of the athletes were men. Well, now when this came into effect in the late 70s, and they've been fighting over forever, and other sports have been fighting, but basically say it's 70-30 at Cal State, it might be 80-20. When I went back there, my wife graduated from there, but I remember when I was going there, most of the classes were full of women. It's kind of odd, it's kind of terrible here in our community that a lot of men don't go off to college. But when you've got the oil field business and a lot of jobs where you can just go right out of high school and make good money, and don't get me wrong, I have 3 sons with college degrees, but I often wish they were mechanics, plumbers and stuff like that. They'd definitely be making probably more money than their degrees. So the story is 70-30. So like say at Cal State, there 70% of the athletes must be women, 30% men. So if you have 100 athletes, 70 of them are going to be women and 30 men. And that doesn't just count scholarship athletes, it's all the athletes on your squad. And so what Cal State did, and a lot of schools did this, of course, is they started up other sports for females. But at Cal State, I'm mainly a distance guy, endurance athlete. They still have track and field. Still has to be, the numbers have to work. But they have a women's cross country team, and they don't have a men's cross country team. So that basically makes distance running at Cal State Bakersfield difficult because all you have is a track season. So all of our good athletes leave and don't run. All our male athletes don't run for Cal State Bakersfield. And then one of the things they do, because I know people, they had like a Title IX squad actually at Cal State Bakersfield to help pad the numbers. So what they were doing at Cal State on the cross country team, they had a core group of maybe 10 young ladies running for them, and a good team. I helped a lot of the gals get scholarships there. I used to talk to the coach quite a bit, but they also would make all the track athletes run across 2 cross-country meets so you could count them as cross-country athletes. And when I was coaching at Bakersfield High, we had a great young lady who went to state every year in the 200, and she ended up getting a scholarship and ran for Cal State. And I used to always tease her that you're going to have to run cross-country, and she used to always tell me that wasn't going to happen. And, well, she got to run 5Ks because they wanted to count her in their number totals for their Title IX compliance. So it gets worse. So, okay, I can let you slide. You make all the track females run cross country. But they would also get some of the softball players to run cross country and other sports, the swimmers as well. And then the other thing they had, and I helped a lot of young ladies get this, you could get like $1,000 like book stipend or something if you were a runner and you would be willing to go run the 2 meets or whatever the requirement was, so they could count it. So the women's cross country team, the numbers were bloated, and they did that so then they could have other men's sports, more athletes, which I get, which was good because there has to be a percentage balance. So, if you got tons of money, you could have as many men's sports as you want, but like I said, if it's 70-30, you're going to have to, you could probably Google this to find some errors, but I'm just kind of give you the general gist of how I saw things and how I was explaining things. And so the thing is, by doing this, we were able to keep our men's wrestling program, and back in the, when I first moved to Bakersfield in the 70s, 80s, our wrestling program won lots of national championships. So anyways, the reason I get to this is kind of goes on, so this past year, a lot of schools have been dumping men's track and field and cross country teams, and Clemson was one of them. And then because of pressure and stuff, now Clemson and other schools are going to keep their men's team, and the women came and rallied for the men as well. And Jonathan Galt does a great tweet here, and he says, this guy says, Russell Dinkins has now helped save almost as many men's track and field programs, 4, as the number of individual HEP titles he won at Princeton, 5. Russell Dinkins. Number 4, Brown, Minnesota, Wilson and Mary, and now Clemson. Black educational opportunity was being taken away, and I could not stand by and let it happen today. To date, I've helped save over 200 opportunities. Immensely proud of the team at Save Clemson Track and Field. And so, yeah, one of the big arguments was, track and field, and one of the things I loved when I coached at Bakersfield High is the diversity of the team. You have kids from all walks of life on the team, unlike so many sports that are very not so diverse. So that was really congratulations to Russell, and hopefully this is going to put an end to it. And they're talking about that, the women rallied on this, and they actually used Title IX to help kind of save some of these programs. And it was crazy. Like Clemson's like, we're going to cancel our track team so we can save a couple $1 million. Meanwhile, they're spending millions of dollars on football facilities and coaching and all this kind of stuff. So off of that and on to some great news. I love this young man from Newbury Park who lives in Camarillo and is fastest distance runner in the U.S., and he's got the hardware or the water bottle to prove it. And I definitely check this out. If you follow me on Twitter, you can see about him. Colin Solomon just tearing it up, running some phenomenal times. And let's keep scrolling up here. Some of my videos that I was throwing up onto the internet so you can check out. I love this photo. Camille really enjoyed her time before the race. There she is with the Showgirls and with Zach Bitter. It was really great to see both of them running hard at the jackpot. And of course, the women's race was phenomenal with the top 3 women on the last 1 mile loop together and separated by such a short distance. So onward here. Definitely was warm at the Jackpot Ultras. It was in the 80s. This race usually is in February. Because of COVID, it got moved. I got to give it to Lee here, who is the co-race director with Ken. He just worked so hard, and they were just at Blue doing the 24, 30, 48, 72 hour just a couple weeks ago, because it was at a traditional date, and then they're back out here doing it again. And it says here, temps are already pushing high 70s, and a great list of people in the top 10. And this was, earlier in the morning, and they were handing out those towels, and I'll tell you, everyone was grabbing one of those. It was a 1.2 mile loop. They grab it, and then you go down 100, 200 yards, and there was this little kids pool full of used towels. So good thing to have that. Some track and field knows. Morgan McDonald looks comfortable winning the 5,000 at the Drake Relays. Great to see the Drake Relays going on. He ran 13:21:39, and here's the big news. That Newbury Park that the other young man went to when they were killing it a few years ago. Nico Young, who went there, now runs for Northern Arizona. True freshman, 13:24:26 for NCAA record and USA 20 and under record. He beat Herman Fernandez 13:25 from 2009. So that record's been around for 12 years. I got the pleasure of watching Herman Fernandez run at the state meet where he ran like a 4 flat on Saturday after doing the prelims on Friday. 4 flat to 1600 and like some crazy 8:30 national record in the 3200 on a pretty toasty day in Los Angeles. So congratulations, Nico Young. He did really good in the cross country and helped his team win a national title. So really looking forward to seeing his future. And that time qualified him for the Olympic trials, which should be fun. Here's some more photos. 8.5 hours into the race, you got Zach running with Raja Paul, and Raja was doing really great. He came in second with Jim Walmsley and broke the United States record. But of course, Jim just barely missed the world record, and he was going good. It's his first 100-miler, and ended up having some issues 50, 60 miles in, and ended up not finishing, I'm pretty sure. And there's this lead woman. Gal on the right was the lead woman. Marissa, of course, the 48-hour record holder, USA at the 3 days of the fair. And this gal, Philippine, she just was motoring along all day, all the entire time, like she was just on a Sunday run. Like you almost didn't realize she was in the race because she just was just so controlled. I guess this was her second 100. She ran the Tunnel 100 last year in November, and it broke 16. And here she just crushed it and ended up winning it. And there's Camille grabbing some water and stuff too. And of course Jacob Jackson, who ended up getting second. So those are kind of great photos. USA Ultra Running is great. Here's Zach. It says, with another Talahana from Nicole Bitter, his wife Zach continues on his torrid pace. At the 10-hour 15 mark, he's at 82 miles, projecting 12:30 finish. Course record is 13:04. He did break that course record, and he got $2,500 for the win and another $500 for breaking the course record. And I believe he would have gotten some like 1,000 or something if he broke the American record. And here's the women. These four were really crushing it, and all came within so close of each other at the end, and we'll be getting there. Yep, there it is, Rich Gonzalez, who I used to hang out with and go to races with. Says, the time by Nico qualifies him for the Summer Olympic Trials in Eugene, Oregon. And all over my Twitter feed, it was awesome to see that they were having a race at the new Eugene Hayward Field, and it looks like a great, great facility, so looking forward to watching that action. They actually are going to have fans. They were doing refunds, giving everybody their money back because they're going to have limited seating. So there she is. Camille said, and like I said, she was going really strong, 3 or 4 hours, just clockwork, 1.2 mile loops, so probably coming around, every 8 to 10 minutes. And then I noticed she did a lap, and I was waiting for her to come by. I was going to shoot some more video of her, and she disappeared into the runner's tent. When I walked down there, she was on the floor with her husband and whatnot working on her, and it says here she's had few rough patches, puked twice, and battled the heat all afternoon. She fell to 5th and is now running hard, a few minutes back of Michael Morgan in 2nd place, less than 20 miles to go. And my friend Yolanda, who last minute decided to come and do the 100 as well, the great walker who's done the 3,100-mile race, 413 the 6-day, she too, like about 2 o'clock, Ed and I were on Clubhouse, and Yolanda had already stopped a few times to rest in the shade with me, and she ended up coming over to me, and I was like, hey, Yolanda, and then she got sick, and it was kind of a Linda Blair type of action. So here, coming down to the end, and Zach was definitely hurting in the last couple laps here. It said, we thought the course record was questionable, and given the heat and winds, Bitter thought otherwise. Less than 2 loops to go, 98.7. So on, let's keep scrolling. Another great performance we had was at the Oregon Relays. Cole Hawker, who's just been crushing it. So 4 hours after 18-year-old Nico Young runs 13:24 at the Drake Relays, 19-year-old Colin Hawker of Oregon runs 13:19 to outsprint a stacked field at the race. And it was definitely a pretty great performance there. He crushed it at that indoor race as well. Some of my, just tweeting out the links to my YouTube videos. I like old Braut Stuebelberger. An article on old Laz of the Barkley Marathons. I'm going to sign up for his great virtual race again. I guess he was on Real Sports, so I guess got to check that out. People just love that thing. It's interesting looking at my YouTube data. Covering the U.S. track and field 100-mile race, but the Barkley views were 1,000 times more than the views for for the U.S. track and field coverage that I did. So people definitely love the Barkley. And then, of course, Zach, wins the national title, wins $3,000. Meanwhile, over in England, this guy, Alexandre Sorkin, breaks Zach's world record with 11:14. And he's pushing to the 12-hour. He ended up getting the 12-hour record as well. I guess it's a pretty great fast race there in England. This young lady broke the British 100 record in 1434. Then here he is, subject to ratification, a new 12-hour world best for Sorkin of 170 kilometers, which is, 161 is 100 miles. That's another 9K. It's like 105, 106 miles. So he got Zach's records. And, of course, it says Zach's previous record was 104.88 from 6 Days of the Dome in 2019, which I was there at. Sorkin's mark was just under a mile further and a 6:48 per mile pace for 12 hours. Man, because 6:52 is 3-hour marathon pace. Just phenomenal performance. And, of course, there was a golden ticket race going on. And at the Canyons 100K, really great race on the Western States course. Kind of starts at Forest Hill. You head towards the finish line for the Western States finish line for a bit, and then you turn around and you go back to Michigan Bluffs and come back. And it's a really great race. I've been there a few times, and it looks like I talked about Max King doing an article about falling, and it looks like Anthony Costellas and Max King take first and second, and 9:11 and 9:23 to earn their Western States tickets, and I believe those are the last tickets to win. Some bad news here. The United States already said they're not going, and Canada, which I'm completely surprised. I figured Canada's not going because Canada, all my Canadian friends who I talk to on Clubhouse and Facebook, they haven't been leaving the country at all, and they're not going to go to the World Athletic Relays, which is unfortunate. I think even Jamaica's not going, which is, Jamaica just, yep, there it is. Canada joins Jamaica in withdrawing from next week's World Relays. USA won't be going either. They never entered a team. So, speaking of track and field, over a year ago, Sarah Hall didn't have a good performance at the Olympic trials, didn't make the team, but then she just been crushing it. It says, first time Sarah Hall has raced on oval since 2016, saw a return with 15:22 in the 5,000. After fall winter that included London Marathon runner-up performance and a 2:20 win at Marathon Prague, she was less than 2 seconds off her 5K PR from 2006. And so she's going to try and make the 10K team in the Olympics. I really hope she makes the team. She certainly deserves to be on the team. I wish she kind of was on the marathon team. Of course, all respect to Alphine, who won, but Alphine ended up having a child a few months ago, and she's just now trying to round into shape. So, but that's how we pick our Olympic team. So, good luck to Sarah. Rich talking about some people getting some great times, and here it is. 50, there he is running to just under 3K, and I think someone was telling me, I'm pretty sure, looks like a nice day. Yeah, you can tell, look at that, it's chilly. Look at these guys, that guy's all bundled up. So, congratulations, I like this site, Centurion says, this was Zach Bitter. He said, wow, so stoked for Alec. What a race, holding steady all the way to the end. Way to raise the bar. Exciting to pass the world record on. It witnessed the flat ultra 100 find new heights. Props to the Centurion runner for time, energy, money spent to put on a 100-mile specific track. So cool, speedy recovery. So I guarantee you, when we talked to Zach before the race at USTF, he knew it wasn't the day to get a record because it was a little too warm, but he definitely was looking for the win, and that's what he told us, and he got it. Zach is going to do a race across the United States starting in September, but I bet you now he's probably got his plans changed just a little bit. Maybe he'll show up at the Dome and try and take that record back, and it would be pretty cool to see him do that. Keep scrolling along here, some other things. There's so much stuff going on in the world of endurance. Parker Wolf recognizes Gatorade National Boys Cross Country Runner of the Year. It's interesting. Oh, there he is. I was like, wait, there's all girls there. Like, there's some boys over there on the right-hand side. So congratulations to him. Keep going along. Here it is. The Drake relay sounded like it was pretty awesome. Now that I'm home, I'm going to have to go look on the YouTubes and try and find that. Some steeplechase action there. Here's another report from the Centurion. And they had record books, and they've had some other age group records set and national records for the age group stuff. So it sounds like a pretty cool race. Speaking of the English, the Gesture is going to be finishing. So he finished 100, 198 Thursday, and then Saturday finished 199 in Vegas at this race that we've been talking about, the U.S. Track and Field 100. And right now he's finishing up the number 200. He'll probably finish sometime Sunday morning. And the reason I bring that up is Sandra Brown, who no one really had known much about until ultra running history started writing an article about people who've done the most hundreds. She's at like 206, we believe. So Ed used to think he was the world record holder for most hundreds in a career, but he was actually just the top male. And Ed is chasing Sandra Brown, and she is from England, a phenomenal walker who's walked so many hundreds under 24 hours, which is just truly amazing, especially since I was there last year watching 2019, that is, Anthony Culpepper and Yolanda Halder just become like the 95th and 96th, or 93rd and 94th people to walk 100 miles in under 24 hours. They've been keeping the record since like 1870s. And here it is talking about the canyons, and it definitely was. The golden tickets were handed out, and the Western States Field is now officially locked. So hope we have that. And that's all I've got for Endurance Twitter. Lots of stuff going on. Thank you guys all for the support. And as always, stay healthy, be boring, and please subscribe.